Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from What Culture.
I'm Andy Murray from What Culture.
And don't forget you can listen to the news as a podcast by subscribing to What Culture Wrestling, wherever you get your podcast from. But coming up today, there is a new number one contender for the Universal Championship.
Former champion returns on last night's Raw.
A new Raw logo may have been revealed.
Is Goldberg coming back for SmackDown on Fox?
Sod all the rest of the stories today. Pyro is coming back.
And sod this story especially, AEW, are they doing 2 TV shows already?
This is the news.
Anyway, let's kick things off with last night's Raw, as we tend to do on a Tuesday morning when big stuff happens, and big stuff did happen. Maybe not quite as newsworthy as last week's show, but there was lots of cool things going on across the entire 3-hour broadcast, and it started in the intro. You know, the usual montage, the forever all that bollocks. You usually hit the fast forward button.
Yeah, I didn't even notice this.
Either did I, until I came in today and saw it on Reddit, because when I'm sitting there watching Raw on a Monday morning, I'm not watching that crap. I'm hitting the fast forward button straight away. But Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, took the damn thing over. Obviously, this thing is only like 10 seconds long, but his influence was all over it. He slowed it down, he cut the audio, he cut the footage, he kind of warped everything, and then at the end, a big image of the Fiend's grinning visage. Really cool to see the Fiend tampering with the broadcast, as he always does with his lights cutting out and the horror movie noises and all that. He was also elsewhere on the show as well. We got a brand new episode of the Firefly Funhouse. It was really good stuff. Huskus, the pig, eating a Seth Rollins action figure. Bray snapping it in half because the Fiend doesn't share. Putting Kane up on the wall of friendship after last week's shenanigans. Really good stuff. And then to close things off, we had the main event, Seth Rollins versus Braun Strowman. Goes to hell when the lights cut, the Fiend shows up. It takes 2 mandible claws to put Braun Strowman down, because Braun Strowman is a big, beefy boy. Meanwhile, Seth Rollins is in the corner crying for his mum, doing his weird acting that he likes to do. So, big night for the Fiend.
I just love him. He's the best thing in wrestling right now,
He's
by
really good.
a country mile for me. And I do kind of like the fact that he's just sort of slowly taking over Monday Night Raw, because like we said, the amount of times that WWE have had something this hot in their hands and then not struck whilst the iron was hot. Yeah. I mean, I know people are like, oh, you know, Universal Championship, etc., etc., etc. But I don't care. I love him. Put him front and center of everything for me. And him taking down Braun Strowman and simultaneously like screaming and laughing, and I saw some people saying on Twitter possibly screaming the words "why" nightmarish.
Yeah, it's really good stuff. WWE deserve all the trust in the world with this character at the moment. You can have reservations about the Universal title and what's going to happen when he has to like wrestle 20-minute matches and so forth, but for me, they've got everything right so far, so, you know, they have my trust, they've earned that. You know, Seth Rollins' acting is really weird, but that's not the Fiend's fault, that's not WWE's fault. It's good stuff all around. I really enjoyed the Fiend's contributions to this show. And yeah, like, I love little things like him hacking into the goofy intro and stuff. Maybe he'll, I don't know, melt the stage or something. Maybe not melt the stage, but, you know, something else.
That's maybe melt the logo, which we'll get onto in a little while. But also on last night's Monday Night Raw, we had a fatal 5-way elimination match to determine the number one contender for Seth Rollins' Universal Championship before he faces the Fiend at Hell in a Cell. And it was won by Rey Mysterio, despite the fact that Michael Cole insisted he's too old. Look how old he is.
Yeah,
he's really old, isn't he?
He can still go.
It finished, it got down to Rey Mysterio and Robert Roode were the final 2 competitors. Also the likes of Ricochet, AJ Styles and Shinsuke Nakamura was in there. But after multiple teasers of it, Rey Mysterio finally hit the 619 and got the cover on Robert Roode. He is the new number one contender. It's a bit of a dream match next week on the season premiere of Raw, isn't it?
Very definition of a dream match. Era versus era. Old, as Michael Cole likes to put out, and he is 44 to be fair, versus newer. Yeah, I think it's really cool. It was a really fun match. The only thing, like you just touched on, that hampered it for me was Michael Cole and the commentators constantly going, "Oh, Rey Mysterio's really old." By the way, that's a terrible Michael Cole impression. I don't know why you do that. I don't know why you like bring light to people's weaknesses and shortcomings. It seems counterproductive to me. But the match was really good. I thought Roode and Rey looked particularly good.
Really good. And Shinsuke and Sammy are wonderful, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Like Sammy on the outside just jumped around going, hee hee hoo hoo, like a little leprechaun. It's great stuff. think Seth versus Rey is going to be really good for the first episode of Raw of the season.
I have a question. I probably should know the answer to this, but if Rey beats Seth, if we're going to do some big title change on Monday Night Raw, is it still Seth versus The Fiend at Hell in a Cell?
Ooh, that's an interesting point. They've kind of telegraphed the result in a way, haven't they? Because can you imagine them putting the effort into this Seth feud with The Fiend and then just completely switching lanes? I mean, it would be quite refreshing. It would be quite cool to see.
And it's a way to take the Universal Championship out of the picture if that's what people are complaining about.
Yeah,
but
precisely.
for me, he needs to be not only all over the episodes of Monday Night Raw, he needs to hold the title now, because you put the title on the most over guy in your company.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. Pro wrestling is not complicated. And speaking of not being complicated, last night, former champion, a former 4-time champion in this company.
Wow.
A former 4-time 24/7 champion in this company. Maybe held it for a cumulative total of 2 minutes. EC3. He was back on TV. It was his first Raw match since the first 24/7 title match, actually, back in May, the 10th of May, or the 20th, something like that. He was wrestling Rusev and didn't go well for him. Didn't go well for EC3.
No.
He was back, but he was not better than ever. He got his ass handed to him in something like 1 minute 40. Got some offense early on, and then just kind of got clobbered. Suplexes, match kick, accolades, tap out. Interestingly, it was just his third Raw match of the year. The other two were those flip-flop wins and losses against Dean Ambrose back in February. Since then, he's become something of a main event warrior. He's been teaming with guys like Eric Young, remember him, and a bunch of other dudes. Kind of not really doing anything. He's in a weird position.
Yeah, he's floundering more than, or arguably more than any mid-carder.
More than Flounder from Bambi.
Indeed.
Bambi.
Yeah, I was just, when Rusev came out, again, they sort of ruined his return pop with the whole Maria Kanellis thing. I thought, oh, which jobber are they feeding to Rusev for this? Because it's clearly, with no fanfare, it's clearly just some sort of squash match. Oh, it's EC3.
Yeah.
And the match wasn't great either, to be perfectly
No, it
honest.
was really weird. Like, there was some awkward, stumbly moments early on.
There was a lock-up or something else I remember going wrong.
Like, EC3 tried to start hot by, like, clobbering him and stuff, and it didn't come off really well. EC3 in this company's perhaps not working out how people would have thought. And it's a shame because, yeah, I mean, he's not going to give you a 5-star match every week, but, he's solid and he looks really good in a suit. He can talk. He's a great character. He has so many traits that Vince McMahon likes. It's just hasn't fallen into place for him.
I don't get it. Right, I'm going to cram 2 stories into one here because they're both sort of nothing. Carmella's the new 24/7 champion. She pinned R-Truth on last night's episode of Monday Night Raw before R-Truth inexplicably helped her leg it away from the rest of the division.
They're just happy to be together, aren't they?
Yeah, and the new Raw logo has probably been revealed. I say probably. There was no fanfare about it, but it was displayed on screen as they were teasing Brock Lesnar for, of course, the season premiere of Raw next week. And, it's not that much of a change, but the tweak, we saw the SmackDown logo as well, which is what we've been reporting for a while now and kind of what we've been expecting. I think the Raw tweak is rather nice.
Yeah, it's very subtle. It's not a huge change, just kind of turned the line underneath into a chevron and kind of altered the text of it. It looks cool.
I'm inclined to believe, seeing the two new logos being, ramped up the week before, that thing we reported yesterday about new potential stages for Raw and SmackDown, I think could well be happening.
Yeah, I think we might have to take that pinch of WrestleVotes and put it back in the box.
Yeah.
But to be fair, it was reported by the people themselves. Just bury them there as well. Shall we move on? Shall we talk about Goldberg? Talk that Goldberg might be coming in for the first SmackDown on Fox, which makes all the sense in the world. Big show, you want big names. Goldberg has apparently been placed in this badass old man role where he comes down and just beats someone up when it's required. This is according to PW Insider. They reckon there's a chance he might show up. This comes on the back of a really weird thing that happened on Friday. Goldberg and
I saw this.
Ziggler in Las Vegas kind of having like a little scrap, a little scuffle.
Handbags at dawn.
Yeah, it was an odd thing. It might be part of the setup, of course. Now, a lot of people have been debating whether or not that was a work or a shoot. I think the fact that it was filmed perfectly and uploaded to the internet really conveniently kind of tells you everything you need to know. But who cares? It's fun. It's fun.
I love it. And how good would it be on the first episode of SmackDown? You have, I suppose, you'd probably have Brock winning the title at the end of SmackDown, but maybe earlier on in the night, I just want to see a shot. I don't need to make a big thing of it. Just Goldberg and Brock Lesnar walking past each other.
Yeah, a little stare down.
Be really, really good. We should also mention on last night's Monday Night Raw, the season premiere next week is going to feature a extra special episode of Miz TV with Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair.
Oh, baby. That's going to go
I felt like they went, Hulk Hogan, and everyone was a bit like, and they went, no, Ric Flair too. And I was like, oh, yeah, okay.
I tell you what, man, I will take that Hulk Hogan WrestleMania reaction with me to the grave. Like,
I didn't know. I was like, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, oh, God. And then, like, a third of the arena was like, yeah, it's Hulk Hogan. And
yeah, that was me, because I was like, well, I'm never going to see him any other time. So
a bunch of other people were like, boo, and then everyone else is just like, what the hell?
Well, I had that moment, we were all sat together, and I was like, dun, 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 dun. Turn round, no one else has stood up with me. When it comes crashing, yeah, okay, I'll sit back down.
Awkward, very
right,
awkward.
The biggest news story of today has come next. Now, it has been reported by WrestleVotes, but like we said, they probably have got the whole new staging thing right. And also, I am desperate to believe this is true, because according to WrestleVotes, the biggest return arguably in WWE history may be happening next week. The return of Pyro! We're getting Pyro back! About damn time, you've not enough bloody money, haven't you?
Yeah, you gotta spend that Fox money on something. Yeah, it makes all the sense in the world. We saw some Pyro at SummerSlam, that was really cool. I think Dave and PW Insider, all kinds of people have said they might bring Pyro back for Fox, so again, you know, I'm kind of burying WrestleVotes again. But it's good crack, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's going to be fantastic. I think that, you know, if you cast your mind back, if they want to sort of hark back to what about the Attitude Era, the opening of Welcome to Monday Night Raw, bang, 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 explode entire stadium button, that is fantastic. SmackDown Fist with all the pyro going off that. It's going to happen next week, guaranteed. Not guaranteed.
Can't wait. Can't wait. Love Pyro. WWE is big on bombastic, and so is Pyro, and we need that explosion.
Do you know they call me Mr. Boombastic?
Zany fantastic. Not going to say the next line.
No, carry on.
We get cancelled. Anyway, the final story of the day is that AEW, just like WWE on FS1, might be looking at implementing a new studio show. This comes from Warner Media's Brett Weitz. Let's go with Weitz, who had an interview with The Wrap where he talked about it. He said they're in talks with AEW. Got a quote from him here. He says, "We are talking about it. There is a world where we're thinking about where does something like that live." A weird sentence there. Knowing full well that within the Warner Media ecosystem we have BR Live. We've got all these different components at our disposal. He says, where does something like that live? Turns out I'm the moron. But yeah, studio show for AEW. Pretty ambitious.
It's a good idea. I wish someone else had come up with that.
Yeah.
It's WWE already do it. Yeah,
weird that, isn't it? Kind of following suit. Maybe I would prefer them to see them establish Dynamite first, but if it works, it works.
And I you know, the Road to TNT stuff with Tony Schiavone and the MJF interview, especially this week, has been fantastic. If it's anything like that, it's going to be some good stuff.
It's going to be.
I can't believe it's next week. Next week is going to be insane. Next week we've got the season premiere of Raw. We've got SmackDown moving to Friday nights, of course. We've got the first head-to-head between AEW and NXT, and general predictions appears to be, obviously, AEW's got this big show that they've already teased, and I think some big stuff's probably going to happen on NXT to try and tempt people to watch that instead. And then Hell in a Cell on Sunday.
When am I going to sleep?
Yes.
This is what I want to know. I'm looking forward. I can't wait, honestly. It's going to be so good.
Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions at WhatCultureWWE if you want to get in touch. Ben Wilson asks, with no authority figures, who is making draft picks for Raw and SmackDown? It makes no sense in kayfabe.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good point. I don't know, maybe the anonymous Raw general manager will show up via 2008 laptop. It's a good question. I think we'll probably see Big Steph or Triple H.
I kind of hope we don't. I kind of hope it just says, flashes up on the screen, so-and-so has been drafted to Raw or SmackDown.
Fine.
Because they can just say there's been negotiations backstage rather than any sodding authority figures coming back.
Yeah.
Unless they want to bring out Heyman and Bischoff, in which case I'm all in.
If Teddy Long comes out, that'd be fun. Just...
Holla, holla. Right, second question today comes from Brian Morales, who says, do you think Rey Mysterio's win last night is attributed to Cody Rhodes' recent comments that he would steal him away from WWE if they didn't treat him properly?
Yeah, I think there's certainly something in that. I think that WWE are paying a lot more attention to AEW and their little shots and their little comments than a lot of people think. I definitely think there's something to it, but it also kind of works as part of the story with Rey coming back and so forth. So 2 parts there. I think they're both equally true.
Yeah, I think it worked out that the guys that they wanted to book in this match, we were talking about yesterday on the Raw preview, he made the most sense out of everyone, and also having the ability to be like, well, we did give you a Universal Championship match, is also works in their favour as well. But I think arguably, WWE is the best place for someone like Rey Mysterio right now.
At this stage in his career, absolutely.
Final question comes today from Matt Ryan, who says, with the impending draft, would someone like Strowman benefit from going from Raw over to SmackDown, or even perhaps have New Day go from SmackDown to Raw, I think it means?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that if you want attention-grabbing, eye-popping stars for SmackDown, well, there aren't many people who attract as much attention and pop as many eyes and pop as many boys as Braun Strowman. He's an awesome spectacle.
And he's had enough Universal Championship shots to last a lifetime.
Hasn't he? We don't want him to become Samoa Joe and losing all these goddamn big matches. Now, there is, of course, the prospect that he could run into Brock Lesnar and we could have another fart around, but let's not worry about that for now.
If they want to do that, I realise that they faced off a couple of times and, you know, we've seen mainly Brock coming out on top. If we, like we said yesterday, if we are getting a short or briefer run of Brock doing proper dates, I sense that won't last the whole time. So, and if you need someone there on SmackDown who wants to continue that big man thing, but, you know, legitimise him as a title contender or title winner, I think Braun's the perfect guy for that. Have him come over, slowly build him up for whatever reason, and then have him beat Brock at, I don't know, the Royal Rumble?
Pay-per-view. Yeah, works for me. Just don't get Kane involved like this year. That was weird.
God's sake. Right, let's move on to today's and finally. And everyone, well, some people are talking, is talking about the Maria Kanellis baby daddy story. Now, of course,
absent from last night's show, weirdly.
Yeah, just no mention of it whatsoever. The general consensus, well, apart from Miz, I suppose, who just went, yeah, I'm the dad of my child.
Yeah.
Sucks to be you, Mike Kanellis. So yeah, the general consensus appears to be that Rusev is not the father. This is a sort of longer-running comedy storyline that they're working with. And I wasn't into it until I saw this tweet yesterday from the legend that is Maury Povich. The Maury Show have tweeted tagging WWE, Rusev, Maria, and Mike Kanellis. Maury Povich, if you've never seen him before, our American viewers will definitely know him. He is the guy who does the whole "you are not the father" things with the people dancing. I'll show you some clips afterwards. It's the perfect thing. And if they can get this would be the perfect crossover for WWE, because it's the right amount of bollocks.
Yeah.
But it's also, you know, another highly popular TV show. I think it's perfect.
I really wish I wasn't so ignorant.
I'm going to show you some clips of the guys reacting. There's some great compilations on YouTube of the, you know, there's one, this girl, she goes, I'm not 100, I'm not 500, I'm 1,000% sure he's the father. And then cuts to Maury, you are not the father. He starts dancing to Outcast. So I'll show you that in a second. Let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts. Plus, you can send us Twitter questions at WhatCultureWWE. Watch there, follow both of us. You can follow him at
Andy H. Murray. The H stands for Happy I'm Not the Father.
You can follow me at Adam Wilborn. You can follow us all at WhatCultureWWE. My thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.
Babies are bad.